Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to the first episode of my iconic inspiration series. My name is Kyla, and I make custom designs, do pattern hacks, home decorating, and a whole lot more. I've been sewing since the age of 11, and I'm pretty sure that my talent and my skills came from my great-grandmother, Hazel Taylor. So it's only fitting that the first episode in this series be dedicated to her. Today I'm making a classic wool coat. I'm using McCall's pattern M8013. This is the type of coat that I envision her shopping in downtown Detroit, going antiquing because she loved antiques. And it's just classic, timeless, and elegant, just like her. I'm making view A, which is the shortest coat in the pattern. You'll need faux fur, wool blend fabric, lining, interfacing, buttons, elastic cord, and thread. So you'll cut pieces 1 through 9, marked view A, and piece number 11 and 12, which are the detachable collar. I know this looks like a lot of pieces, but it'll be all worth it in the end. I like to take my faux fur outside in the warmer months, and that way, whatever debris comes off of it when I cut it, I just let it fly away with the wind, and I can shake it off, and I'm good to go. But do you see this waviness that's in the fabric here? I'm going to have to be very careful how I place the collar because I don't want that imprint. I want the collar fur to be as smooth as possible. So let me know if you guys have any ideas or know of any tips on how to get those little imperfections out of faux fur. Let me know in the comments. So I've got it placed where I think I won't have the imperfections in the middle sections of the collar. If they're on the edges, that's fine because my seam allowance will smooth those out and take care of those. And I think I'm ready to cut it out. I do prefer to cut faux fur upside down and kind of stay close to the backing of the fabric, but because I needed to situate it around the imperfections, I'm going to cut this right side up. So we got the front pieces and the back pieces connected. I have my darts in place, and I also went ahead and I serged the inside of the entire coat just to prevent any raveling. I have my pockets in place, lining on the front side and the fabric on the back. And my shell is pretty much ready to go. So I've got one side of the front facing attached to the lining, and there's my inner facing on the back. I've got my markings in place from the pattern, and I love how this fabric looks like stained glass. It just reminds me of some of the antiques that my grandmother had in her house. This is the other side of the facing that you'll pin all the way down from the top to the bottom, matching your pattern markings. Here I'm basting the interfacing to the top collar piece and the bottom collar piece. I'm stitching about 4/8 of an inch from the edge. I've got my outer sleeve stitched, and you repeat the same step for the lining as well. So here's the facing complete, and I've got my markings in place for the sleeves. That's what those tiny little X marks are near the armholes. Here are the sleeves completed. I've got my lining sleeves completed. And these are the upper and the under collar completed as well. These are the markings on the back side of the lining, and the long white markings with the X's at an angle will help provide some ease with the lining when you attach it to the coat. This is just to create some movement and fluidity once your garment is finished. I want to point out something in this section here of the pattern instructions. It says to cut 5 sections each of elastic cord, but it shows a picture of 9 pieces. So just be mindful that it's really 9 total, 1 in the middle and 4 on each side to attach the detachable collar. So I've got my 2.5-inch lengths cut to attach the buttons. The elastic is 1/8 of an inch wide. So this is the under collar, which is cut out of the lining piece. You'll transfer your markings for the elastic from the pattern piece onto your fabric and stitch down the center seam to connect the two pieces together. You'll pin your pieces of elastic facing the inside where all of your markings are on the fabric, and then just stitch a light basting stitch over the pieces just to keep them in place. I sewed part of this coat at night, and sometimes you need a little piece of chocolate to keep going. Because essentially when you're making a lined coat, you're making that garment twice. And at this point, I was losing a little bit of steam, so I needed some chocolate to give me a boost. This is the under collar that I'm attaching to the outer layer of the coat. You'll repeat this process for the top collar, but you'll be attaching that to the lining, and then you'll sew both pieces on the outer rims together. So I've got my lining attached to the collar, and I left an opening just large enough for me to slide my hand through so that I can turn it inside out. I cut the lining a little bit more narrow than the outer collar because I wanted to ensure that when I turned it inside out, the fur would fold over the edges. All right, we're coming right along. I've got the outer shell done, and I've got the lining in place. Got my collars on. All I have to do is just connect them together, add my buttonholes, and finish off the hem. Now that I've got my outer layer and lining attached, I left an opening just large enough to slide my hand through so that I could turn everything inside out. And then I'll be sure to go inside and take my scissors and just gently force them into the corners just to pull the points out for the collar. I always like to do a practice buttonhole just to ensure that my thread lengths are correct and I have a smooth finish to the buttonhole and that there's no gathering underneath with the bobbin thread, because once you start a buttonhole, you don't want to have to start over. I took the coat to the dry cleaners to have them give it a good press for me. And now that I've got it back, I can add my buttons to it. And here's my finished product. And I'm sure I did really good not to cry while editing this. I wish that either I was born earlier or she was born later so that our timelines would have allowed us to be together a little bit longer. I know that's impossible though, so I'll just be grateful for the fond memories, the Hershey cupcakes, the mini sweet potato pies. She used to make these little sweet potato pies. They were so good. Ugh. And how her house smelled like vanilla extract year round. No incense, no candles, no Glade plugins, just pure vanilla extract. I don't know how she did it. Well, if you enjoyed today's video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And stay tuned to see who's my next iconic inspo. Bye, everyone.